Scott, you've played in a few of these now. What is it like getting towards the back end to have another opportunity at the Holly Grove?
Yeah, obviously super appreciative. Probably the relief initially of winning such a close game. It was an amazing feeling, and then for me, sort of turned to being able to just share this with my kids and my family. Last time my son Jax was about 15 months old, so he wouldn't remember a hell of a lot, but this time he will, and my daughter Darcy will be able to enjoy the week. And we had a breakfast in here today, and it was just awesome to see so many families and all the kids running around, and it's going to be a special week, so enjoy it for what it is, and then we know 2:30 Saturday, that's when we get down to business.
How do you moderate the nerves in the group? Like, obviously you've got young players who maybe haven't been on the stage, who also can't appreciate necessarily how hard it is to get there because they haven't had the years behind them to do it. And then you guys trying to manage yourselves and make sure you're in tip-top shape for Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's just individually, just embrace whatever you're feeling, and everyone's got different emotions. For the group last year, a lot of these guys played in the prelim final that you lost by a point, and then we come out on Friday night and you win one by a point. So a lot of this team's got those emotions of being so close, getting it taken away from you. And you speak to a lot of the guys, and they absolutely hated grand final week last year, just because they knew how close we were. And then this year, now we get to experience it all together. So embrace the week. Everyone's going to be different. There'll be nerves, anxieties, stuff like that. But it's the same for us. Brisbane will be going through the same thing, and then we've always to speak about once it's showtime, just come back to your job, you roll, connect with each other, and that will hold us in good stead.
What's your view on Taylor Adams this week?
It's
a
probably not the last time I get
situation,
asked about that, is it? But he trained out there today from what I seen when I was walking across. I think even Fly said it's probably going to come down to the minutes on that call. So it's probably too early to worry about it for a lot of us. It's just let him keep getting after it and keep attacking it, and then between the coaches and the medical staff who have been amazing at this club, they'll make the right call for the group, and then we back them in, trust what we do, and then we'll go out there with a fit, healthy 23 to get after it.
Scott, if you win the Norm Smith, are you hoping Chris Judd says your name right?
Is Juddy presenting it? If we win the flag, whoever gives the trophy to Das, I'll just hope they say his name right.
You got the tap from 2010, would you get another?
All the hard questions today. I don't know, I haven't thought about it yet.
Scott, can you talk about your relationship with Nick Dacos and how much you've mentored him and just how you've seen his growth? I mean, it's been pretty almost unprecedented.
Yeah, his rise is, I haven't seen anything like it in my time. His ability to come in and influence games straight away, and even on the weekend, just things that late in the game. His ability to read some matchups behind the play and adjust those for our team as a 19-year-old, it's just stuff that doesn't usually happen. Usually they're worried just about themselves and how they're going. And some of the things he did in the last 3 minutes, it's just great to have him back on the field. The leadership stuff that he can do already at his age and see the game the way he can is phenomenal. And I work fairly closely with him as we played similar parts of the ground, and it was great to have him back on the weekend. And no doubt he'll be better for that run, and he'll be super cherry ripe for this week.
A few years ago, Braden spoke about how you set him down one day when he was early on in his career.
Put him in the naughty corner.
Maybe more than once.
Yeah.
And just said, look, this is what it takes, right? This is what you've got to do, and he listened to you. How your thoughts on him and how proud you are of how far he's come?
I think a lot of guys when they come into the system, they probably just enjoy the ride that they're on, and then once you taste a bit of success or get around finals, you understand why you do the hard work. And Brazzy has been exceptional since he come in, and nobody expects these guys to come in when they're 17, 18 and know everything straight away, and he certainly didn't know everything, but he got feedback and then acted on that straight away, and it's all credit to him. A lot of players have got feedback over the time and don't act on it, and he's acted on it, and he's had an amazing career. He's got a huge influence over this club and group, and nobody loves this place more than he does, and I'm super happy with how his journey's panned out.
Did the penny drop straight away, or did you perhaps have to labour the point a couple of times?
No, it's he got the feedback loud and clear, and he acted on it straight away. And as I said, he was an 18, 19-year-old kid and thought he was doing everything right, and then a lot of these guys don't know until they get shown the way or something like that. And I feel as a captain at the time, or even now as just an older player, as a senior player, that's your job, is to look after these kids, because they don't just walk in like robots, know everything to do. You still want to have their personality and character, but understand that, at 21, 22, there's certain things they can't do anymore. And as I said, he trains extremely hard, prepares really well, and really proud of him.
Scott, you've spoken a few times about the way that Fly and the whole club has brought everyone along for the journey, embrace the ride, all that sort of stuff. Do you think that mindset's been beneficial to you guys getting to where you are from sort of the moment that Fly walked through the door?
Yeah, well, nobody sort of predicted the rise we would have had last year, coming from second last to now, and he's always walked in with there's no limits, don't put a ceiling on what you can do as a team, as a player, but then also coming back to the now and being very focused on today and getting today right and trying to get something out of today, and then after tomorrow. So his mentality is spread through the club really quickly, and a lot of the boys have embraced that, and as I said, he's been a fantastic leader of this club now for a couple of years, and no doubt his messaging and all that sort of stuff seeps through to the other players, and we all speak, we probably sound like Fly now as well, so he's been exceptional.
Scott, your longevity, how much is it down? Is it got a bit to do with the fact that Craig's come in and reinvigorated the place, and also just talk about the extras and everything you've done, because the role you play could easily be banged up and be done a couple of years ago, so how have you kept your body in such amazing shape and still going?
Yeah, we want to know what you take.
What's that?
We want to know what you take. What subs do you have?
So I forgot the first part of that question, but in terms of me, it's just, from a young age, I had some, probably similar to what Braden copped from me, Paul Acuria, Nathan Buckley, Scott Burns, when I was 18, 19, just being an inquisitive kid, asking questions, what advice do you have for me, what do you wish you had done, and a lot of those guys said from, 26, 27 onwards, if they had their time again, they would have put more time into their recovery. So I sort of sought that advice, and then I've been able to put that in, and they said it will pay you back in spades when you get older, and I feel like I'm sort of reaping the rewards of that work that I did from 18, 19, 20, of just being big about looking after my body. There's certainly times when I was 19 to 25, 26 where it didn't matter what happened, you just could train as hard as you wanted to, and to now where some days you feel 40 out there, but you get through. I'm almost 40 anyway, but some days you get through, and so I'm extremely fortunate to be still doing what I love at 35 and still feeling really fresh physically and mentally.
It's effectively a home grand final for you guys. How much of an advantage will that crowd be for you on the day? Now you're facing a state team.
Certainly. It's nice to be playing the grand final here, not at the Gabba. I don't think they've lost at the Gabba for 20 games or something like that. So it's great to play on a ground we're super familiar with, and they're not as familiar with it as we are. So there's an advantage in that, but we still have to go out there and execute how we want to play, and they've got some great strengths that we've got to be able to manage to get in this game.
There's that, for you, infamous passage you played at West Coast, executed at the end of that 2018 grand final, end to end, right? And Brazil got blocked. But how the way Collingwood plays now and your ability to close out the tight ones, you look back on that, it looks like that wouldn't happen with the Collingwood side now. You're a better side.
Definitely we train, I suppose, those last few minute situations a lot more in the last 2 years than I ever did across my whole career. So we're well versed in those situations about what we want to do with and without the ball, and as Fly talks about post games, we train that not just every now and again, we train that every training session for the last few minutes of our match play. So we're well versed if it's tight, what we need to do, if we're up or down by a few points, what we need to do, if we need to get the game back on that situation, and hopefully for us and our supporters, it's not tight and we don't need to do it.
But there must be, there's obviously an anxiety, if it is a tight grand final, but there must also be a confidence.
I don't think there's, certainly from my point of view, there's not really an anxiety. There's a trust and a confidence that I know what everyone around me is going to do and how we want to play. I feel like the anxiety is in the crowd, and my family certainly let me know about it after the game, about all the things that were going to happen. I'm sort of oblivious to it because I'm the one that's doing it. I'm out there and we've got a bit of control over what's happening. So we just take confidence from the process of being able to train it a lot, so we know what we're going to do. We're not hoping that we put up a board and everyone's like, what's that mean this week? We know what we've got to do.
Always a hard luck story. Unfortunate for Dan McStay. You feel like you're really going to miss him come Saturday 2:30?
Yeah, absolutely going to miss him. He's been super important for us since he's got back in, from his hand injury, and It's taken him a little bit of time to gel with the group, but he's had some huge moments in the finals so far already and late in the year. And you miss a great player, an awesome teammate, a good fella around the place, a guy who trains incredibly hard, his leadership, that sort of stuff. But yeah, he's already spoke to a lot of us and just said if you need anything for the week, he's such a good teammate that he's put the focus straight back onto us, not on him. And yeah, you feel extremely sorry for him.
Fly spoke earlier before last game about Johnny Noble saying that if the metaphor was if you're in the slips, you've got to be ready for the catch if it comes, and that's the opportunity now possibly to a Johnny Noble or a Billy Frampton. So how much do you sort of get around them and make sure they're in the right mindset for the possible call-up?
Yeah, well, I think those guys are in the right mindset with just how they've been training. Our VFL side got knocked out a number of weeks ago, and the training standard of those guys has been first class. So they've prepared really well. And yeah, you're right, I'm not a big cricket person, but if you've been standing in the slips waiting for something to come through, there's obviously a spot now, and those guys have been preparing as hard as it might be with no chance in front of them. Now the chance is here, so whichever way they go, guys will be ready to step up and play.
Scott, go well.
Thank you.